Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to World Finals 20 here at Orlando, Florida. We have 32 trucks ready for racing competition here in Camping World Stadium, including races like Sagon Shaker versus Alien Invasion, Maximum Destruction versus Avenger, Overboard versus Megalodon Fire, and that's just the first 3 races of round 1. Of course, we still have races like Max D Fire versus Son of a Digger, Grave Digger versus Black Pearl, and Soldier Fortune, Black Ops versus Soldier Fortune, all coming up here in round 1 as we're getting things started here in racing with Ryan Disharoon and Bernard Light. As they're coming down the stretch, the first ones to take these turns of the night in competition, our number 1 qualifier is going to go over in the first turn here in racing, leaving it all for Bernard Light to move into the second round. We're going to take a look at the replay here, see what happened to Ryan Disharoon in that turn. It looks like he just clipped that turning obstacle there, and over he goes into that backflip ramp. Tough luck for Ryan Disharoon, as now we have Avenger versus Max D, Neil Elliott versus Jim Kohler. They're coming down right now. Looking pretty even to the turn. Jim Kohler going out wide. Neil Elliott having some trouble in the turn, and Jim Kohler is going to be taking a huge upset here in the first round. Neil Elliott is not happy taking that truck back into the pits, but Jim Kohler keeping it alive going into round 2 here in racing. Your next round 1 matchup, it's going to be Overboard driven by Jamie Garner going up against Corey Rummel and Fire Megalodon as they're already started in this race, coming down to the turn. Looks like Overboard might have it in the turn, but Fire Megalodon making up some ground, and it's coming down to the wire. I don't know who got it. It looks like we're going to have to go to an instant replay here to see who won. And it looks like Jamie Garner and Overboard just taking it here from Corey Rummel and Fire Megalodon. Next up, we have Brodozer versus Kraken. Nick Pagliarulo looking to take out Heavy D. Coming down to the turn, it looks like it's all Kraken so far. Brodozer swinging it out wide, and that leaves it all for Nick Pagliarulo with a wild ride at the end of his race. Gonna keep that truck on all 4 wheels. Scott Buto and El Toro Loco Ice going up here against Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter. They're coming down to the turn. Jimmy Cretin clipping the turning obstacle. Scott Buto went really wide. It's not gonna matter. He's gonna be taking the win here. We're gonna take a replay and look at what happened to Bounty Hunter back up on all 4 wheels now, exiting the stadium. You know, Jimmy Cretin comes out here every year and tries his best out here in the World Finals racing competition, but it looks like this year he's just gonna have to focus on some freestyle. John Gordon and Bad Company going up against Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy as they're off there on the starting line. And it looks like Todd LeDuc having a little bit of the headway coming into the turn, both going out pretty wide. But Todd LeDuc maintaining that lead, and he is going to be making it through round 1. John Gordon making a beeline towards that tunnel and almost completely cutting off Todd LeDuc though. Colton Eichelberger and Max D taking on Matt Pagliarulo in Jester as they're off the line. Colton Eichelberger looking strong through that straightaway, taking into the turn nice and tight, clipping the turning obstacle, not hitting the tire, so it won't be a penalty, which means that Max D will be making it here into round 2. Monster Mutt Dalmatian Ice versus Zombie Fire, Bari Musar versus Cynthia Gautier as they're off the line. Our first Fire and Ice race of the night. Coming to the turn, it looks like Monster Mutt Dalmatian with a little bit of the advantage. Cynthia Gautier across the line first and going to be taking out Bari Musar first round, but she is going tumbling down the track. 3 barrel rolls for Cynthia Gautier. Let's take a look at this replay. Coming down hard on the right rear tire, and that just sent her into a spiral, a chain reaction of rollovers. But with that race being in the books, that sets up half of our bracket for round 2. We have races like Alien Invasion versus Avenger, Overboard versus Kraken, El Toro Loco Ice versus Monster Energy, and Max D versus Monster Mutt Dalmatian so far. As we're going to keep moving down the bracket, we got Lindsay Wink versus Lindsay Reed. It looks like Lucas Oil Crusader with a little bit of the advantage in the turn, both taking it really tight, Scooby-Doo especially. And it's going to still be Lucas Oil, a huge crash at the end of the race. As Lindsay Reed just biting the dust on that ramp, and that is going to end her night here in racing competition. race we've been waiting on all night. Tom Meents and Max D Fire. Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. These two are off, and this race is personal. Coming down to the turn, and Son of a Digger clipping the turning obstacle like so many before him. Handing the victory to Tom Meents and Max D Fire. He's going to advance on to round 2. And we're going to take a look at Son of a Digger flipping over into the backflip ramp, not finishing his pass. As we're moving on, Becky McDonough versus Cam McQueen. Northern Nightmare and El Toro Loco coming down here on the track. El Toro Loco onto 2 wheels there for a second, and it's going to give the win to Northern Nightmare out here at World Finals 20. Cody Saucier and Monster Energy lining up against none other than John Zimmer and Dragon Ice. These two racers could be in the finals, but here they are in round 1 taking each other on. And only one of these men can win. Coming into the turn, it looks like Monster Energy has it. But Dragon bringing it back and across the line, it's going to be Dragon. Monster Energy flipping it over. Yes, he is on his lid. And Cody Saucier flipping that truck in round 1. Going to end his night in racing, but there's still freestyle and 2-wheel skills competition for Cody Saucier to come. Tristan England and Earthshaker going up against Bryce Kenny and Mohawk Warrior. Now Tristan England been in the Arena Series, Bryce Kenny in the Stadium. We're going to have to see how these two hold up. Oh, no, Bryce Kenny going out into the wall, and that is going to hand the win to Tristan England. It's going to be smooth sailing for Tristan England and Earthshaker here in round 1. Is Bryce Kenny going to finish with style? But no wins here in round 1. Charlie Pocken and Gravedigger coming out here. His opponent gonna be Cole Bernard in Black Pearl. Round 1 racing is almost done. We're getting into round 2. We have a few more races to go, and these drivers are off. Coming down the straightaway, it looks like Gravedigger had some problems coming down. Gravedigger flipping it over. That's gonna lead. No! In a rare turn of events, both of these trucks going over on their lids before finishing the race. That meaning if both of these trucks pass their inspections, they will be granted a re-race. Both trucks being able to pass inspection, that means they're both back up on the starting platform and starting this race over. This time we're going to determine a victor coming down to the turn. Gravedigger having trouble again, up onto 2 wheels once again. This time it's going to be all Cole Bernard with no problem taking out Gravedigger 27. A little bit of trouble near the tunnel area as Black Pearl gonna back that thing up and hopefully let Gravedigger get out of here. Rosalie Raymer in round 1 gonna be taking on Adam Anderson in Gravedigger. She's got a lot on her plate. Is she gonna be able to hold up? Adam Anderson so far with a little bit of the advantage into the turn. Rosalie Raymer taking it slow and not going to be enough to take out the black and green wrecking machine. And your last race of round 1 will in fact be a teammate race. Kayla Blood versus Tony Oaks. Soldier Fortune Black Ops versus Soldier Fortune. As we're coming down here to the turn, we're about to find out who is going to round off into round 2. It looks like Kayla Blood is going to be taking out Tony Oaks, and Tony Oaks is going over. 2 nice barrel rolls for you fans to end off round 1, and we're going to take a look at this replay up on the board. Tony Oaks going over 2 times. And Tony Oaks going to give round 1 a nice grand finale, moving on into round 2. As now we're going to take a look at our round 2 bracket to see who was added to the equation. It's going to be Lucas Oil Crusader versus Max D Fire, Northern Nightmare versus Dragon Ice, Earthshaker versus Black Pearl, and Gravedigger versus Soldier Fortune, rounding off round 2 here for racing action here, World Finals 20. We're going to start off with Alien Invasion versus Avenger here in just a moment. We have Avenger and Alien Invasion staged here, ready for round 2, and they're already off. As it looks like the advantage going to Avenger into the first turn. Alien Invasion coming out nice, though. And it's going to be too close to call. Who was it? Jim Kohler or Bernard Light? Is Bernard Light into some trouble around the tunnel? Looks like he lost a wheel, jamming it into the backflip ramp and slamming that truck sideways in the tunnel, blocking Jim Kohler from getting out. Quite a turn of events, as now we're going to find out who won the race. And it looks like Jim Kohler's going to be taking it by just a headlight. Jamie Garner coming out here, taking on the rookie Nick Pagliarulo in Kraken. Who's it going to be, Overboard or Kraken coming down here? It looks like Overboard with a little bit of the advantage. Kraken taking it wide, clipping the turning obstacle, and it's going to be all Overboard, but Kraken rolling over at the end of the race. Back up on all four wheels. We're going to take a look at that replay. A hard crash for Nick Pagliarulo. Landing it back down on all four wheels though, and it looks like he's going to have the willpower to drive that truck off the course. Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy coming out here against Scott Buteau in El Toro Loco Ice, and they're off. It looks like Monster Energy has a pretty good advantage coming down to the turn, but losing it in the turn, and Scott Buteau is going to be getting lucky yet again. Here in racing round 3, here he comes, as Todd LeDuc is going to be hanging up the helmet. Monster Mutt Dalmatian Ice driven by Cynthia Gauthier coming out here against Colton Eichelberger in Max D. As they're off the line, and Max D looking pretty good down the straightaway into the turn. He's going out into the center of the turn though. Cynthia Gauthier never really getting onto the gas to make up the ground. And Max D all over the place near the tunnel, out of control. Gonna put that truck on all four wheels and advance into round 3. Cynthia Gauthier not able to do it out here. Lindsey Wink taking on Tom Entz and Max D Fire. Lucas Oil Crusader trying to make it into round 3. We're gonna have to see what happens here. And they're coming around the turn. It looks like Tom Entz is on 2 wheels into the backflip ramp, leaving it for Lucas Oil Crusader to move on into round 3. We're going to take a look at what happened to Tom here, just losing it in the turn, going way wide, and that was not what he needed. We got John Zimmer versus Ken McQueen, Northern Nightmare and Dragon Ice. To the turn, it's all Dragon so far. Northern Nightmare trying to make up the ground and not quite going to be able to do it. John Zimmer moving on. Tristan England going up against someone who had some trouble in round 1. He is in the same lane that he had trouble in as well. We're going to have to see who's moving on here into round 3. Coming to the turn. Earthshaker nice and tight, but he clipped the turning obstacle, costing him the race. Black Pearl smooth as silk around that turn this time. As it looks like Earthshaker got flipped back up. We're going to take a look at that flip over from Earthshaker. Clipping that obstacle right there, and that flipped him over into the middle of the turn. And that ended racing here for Earthshaker as we're moving on. Caleb Blood versus Adam Anderson in Gravedigger. Will it be Soldier Fortune or will it be Gravedigger coming down to the turn? Soldier Fortune clipping it. Really bad flipping over. I don't know what she was doing, and Adam Anderson gonna choose to conserve his truck. Maybe a wise choice moving on into round 3. Looking at the replay, it looks like she took it just a little too tight and there was no room for correction. As we transition into round 3, we have races like Avenger versus Overboard, El Toro Loco Ice taking on Max D, Lucas Oil Crusader versus Dragon Ice, and Black Pearl versus Gravedigger 35. And of course, we're going to be starting things off with Avenger versus Overboard. One of these two is going to be making it into the semifinals, 2 of the best independents Monster Jam has to offer. And Jamie Garner taking it wide. That means Avenger is going to be moving on into the semifinals here in World Finals 20. And next up we have El Toro Loco Ice versus Max D. Both of those trucks ready on the line, and they're off. So far it looks pretty even. Scott Buteau keeping up with Max D. But in the turn it is going to be all Colton Eichelberger taking it home for Team Max D. Lucas Oil Crusader taking on one of the fastest trucks of the night so far, Dragon Ice, and they're off the line. Coming down the straightaway, it looks pretty even once again, maybe a little bit for Lucas Oil Crusaders. Dragon Ice is going out wide. You gotta think that track may be washing out there on the turn, but Lindsey Wink moving on into the semifinals. This race is old crew chief versus old driver, Adam Anderson versus Cole Vennard, and they're off. Cole Vennard looking strong. Gravedigger off the line a little late. Cole Vennard through the turn so far, and it's going to be Black Pearl rounding off your semifinals. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to leave us with 4 of your baddest trucks of the night so far in racing competition. It's going to be Avenger versus Max D and Lucas Oil Crusader versus Black Pearl. Kicking off the semifinals with Avenger versus Max D. One's got to win, one's got to lose, and they're coming down the straightaway. It looks like so far Max D taking that headway, but flipping over in the turn, and that means Jim Kohler going to be taking yet another win, moving on into the finals. Colton Eichelberger flipping that Maximum Destruction truck over just before the turn. Not going to be able to take out Avenger, as now we have Black Pearl taking on Lucas Oil Crusader, Cole Bernard, and Lindsey Wink. One has to win, one has to lose. Lucas Oil Crusader going to be taking out Black Pearl in the semifinals, moving on, and is going to be taking on Avenger in the final round of racing here at World Finals 20. One of these drivers is going to be walking away as your World Finals 20 racing champion. Lucas Oil Crusader looking strong through the straightaway. Taking it wide though, leaving it for Avenger, and Jim Kohler is going to be taking your World Finals 20 racing championship. Coming out here on the track, he is ecstatic. Jim Kohler been driving monster trucks for many, many years, and he is finally going to claim his first racing championship. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for coming out here and supporting racing competition. We want to remind you that we still have high jump, two-wheel skills, and of course, freestyle competition yet to come here on the T.Ray channel. We want to thank you for 15,000 subscribers and your continued support. You will be seeing more content here in the future. Thank you for everything.